What I'd like to do right now is to demonstrate a little bit of how to hold a knife so that when you're carving, you're fairly safe and going to be very efficient with the way you're going to be making your chips. I carve with what I call a 3-point contact method. I'm going to hold the knife in my right hand. I'm going to hold the carving in my left hand. So this gives me a point of contact here. And then I'm going to put the knife to the wood, which gives me my second point of contact. And then I'm putting my thumb behind the blade. So this is 3 points that are actually holding the carving and the knife in sort of a pyramid kind of a fashion. And as I push the knife through the piece of wood, I'm incorporating a slicing motion. And the slicing motion is going to accentuate the cutting ability of the knife quite a bit. So instead of just trying to push the knife straight through the wood, I'm going to shear the fibers with a slicing motion. So starting at the tip of the blade, working towards the back of the blade as I finish the cut, or I'll start in the middle of the blade, and as I proceed, I'm going to end the cut at the tip of the blade. So I'm utilizing a lot of the cutting surface of the blade and not just a small portion of it. So by keeping your hands very close to the cutting edge of the tool, you'll have a tremendous amount of control as to where the blade is going and in what direction your cut is proceeding. You're not going to have a lot of control trying to hold a knife by the handle and just cut by itself. Working in unison with both hands, it allows me greater control. Now I want to show some proper handling of a chisel. This is a full-length chisel. I don't particularly hold it by the handle. Again, you're very far away from your cutting edge, so you don't have as much control way back here. So what I'll do is choke up on the chisel and I'll hold it diagonally through the palm of my hand, resting my forefinger and thumb, and then curling the rest of my fingers around it so it hangs over my hand just about 3/4 of an inch. Now I'm going to have the 3-point contact method, which is very safe using a chisel, just like it is with the knife. Holding the carving in one hand, it's 1 point of contact. I'm going to rest the palm of my hand on the carving, which is my second point of contact, and all I'm going to do is just oscillate my wrist, just roll the wrist. And this is really helpful because I can see exactly where the chisel is going, but I can't go any farther than this cut because my hand is here. It's a stop. So I'm taking small chips away and being very efficient. As you can see, and what I want you to try to practice is that you don't need a lot of force. There's virtually very little force being exerted on the wood. Now, in instances where I can't bring the tool towards myself, then I'm going to carve away from myself. My index finger lies underneath the back of the chisel, the thumb's up on top, again about an inch, inch and a quarter from the cutting edge. And I'm going to rest my thumb on the side of the chisel so that as I make my cut, I'm making that slicing motion, and as soon as my index finger touches the carving, I should be out of my cut. And I'm rocking the chisel, or I'm utilizing the curvature of the chisel to make my cut. So I'm not just pushing the chisel straight through, I'm utilizing the cutting ability of that entire length of the cutting edge of the tool to create the chip. All right, so now I want to show just a little bit with the V-tool. And the V-tool is a chisel. I hold it the exact same way I do my gouges, but you can't slice the V-tool as well as you can with the gouges. But it's going to be the same motion where I'm going to rest the wrist of my hand on the carving and slice the wood with giving an arc. And you'll see that there's going to be a slight twist as the chisel's going through. So I'm starting on the right side of the chisel, and as I come through the cut, I'm giving an arc. So you get a very nice controlled cut. By keeping your wrist on the carving, you have the same amount of control as you do with your curved gouges. If you can think of carving as taking a specific chisel to make a specific cut to give you a specific result, that's carving. It's not just haphazardly making wood chips and make a little pile on the floor. It's an intentional thing. There's a thought process into using a chisel to create a certain shape that gives you a result on your carving. Okay, so as you are probably seeing, there's a lot of twisting of the wrist to make the cuts with the V-tools, and also with your other chisels. It's more of the articulation of the wrist than it is of any forearm pulling or pushing, so it's just in the wrist. Now I'm going to go from my medium-sized V-tool to this little V-tool. Now this is a 16 V-tool. It's a little tighter angle than the 15V. And this is what I use for doing all kinds of beards and fur texturing on little animals and so on. And what I'm going to do is, on this clean surface here, I'm going to hold the chisel in my thumb and index finger. And I'm going to wrap my other fingers around it so that I can roll it. Okay? It's just going to work the roll with my little fingers. And I'm going to use my thumb as a pivot point. And as I start to make my cut, I'm going to roll out my fingers, and it's going to almost automatically make the chisel go to my left. If I want to start another cut to go off to the right, I'll start with my hand extended, and as I close it and slide on the thumb, it swings the chisel off to the right. And this is how I get a lot of curves and so on in beards and fur texturing. See how to make this chisel go off to my left, I'm going to start the cut and swing the hand on the thumb so I get these really tight arcs. And then if you really want to get kind of creative, you turn the carving and the chisel together. So you get a lot of liveliness in your V-cuts by simply using your thumb as a pivot point, and as you finish and you just can't spin your wrist anymore, you come out of the cut. So I'm out of the cut as soon as I twist my wrist and swing the chisel out. I can't go any farther, so I might as well end the cut. And that's what I'll do. Let's just come around and get some really nice V-cuts. And you'll see this is a very sharpened tool. I also narrowed down the bottom of it so it's going to slide through the wood really easily and give me some really dynamite looking curves. And when you have a Santa with a beard that's going all over the place and creating a lot of liveliness and interest, it's just going to make your little Santa so much more enjoyable to look at and stand out from just what I call a raked effect. And a raked effect is just taking the V-tool and just making horizontal or vertical cuts on a beard. It doesn't add a lot of dynamics to the carving, but when you can start to whip up the surface with a V-tool, that puts the whipped cream right on top.